A few remarks from President Biden as the White House says that the infrastructure bill will help to end inflation. I would like to welcome to the conversation David Peters, financial advisor. Good morning, David. As always, thank you so much for joining us. So President Biden plans to sign this bill on Monday. We know that the holidays are right around the corner. The American people are really feeling the woes of the highest inflation that we've seen in, 3 decades? Will this bill help?
I think it will, but I don't think that it's going to help as fast as a lot of people would like it to. I don't think that this is one of those things that's going to straighten itself out in the next 6 months. I think it's going to take, a year or maybe longer.
So that's an interesting point. You say that you don't think it's going to straighten itself out within the next 6 months. Obviously, it won't be an overnight process. And we actually started to see a rise in prices before the pandemic. Am I correct?
Yeah, you did start to see a rise in prices before the pandemic. And so it has really only been exacerbated by the economy taking off. Shortages cause rising prices. Also, too, we continued to spend. So the idea is that by spending on longer term bonds, longer term investments, that you would sort of that you would bring down interest rates. You would sort of keep inflation in check. During the pandemic, I think that we needed to do that, but we kept spending and spending and spending, and now we're in a situation where we have probably waited too long to engage in bond tapering, and so because of that, I think that as we engage in this tapering process, that you're going to see some volatility in the markets, and you're going to see rising interest rates for a little while. The pandemic was a big thing. It took a while. And so it's not surprising that it's going to take us a while to dig our way back out.
So things won't happen quickly. What can we see happen in the short term? What's the timeline on all of this?
Well, so I think at least in the short term, I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of volatility in the markets. I think that you're going to see some situations where, very similar to what we've seen in the last week in the markets, where, Monday we started off pretty well, and then we were kind of flat towards the end of the week. And so I think that you're going to see a lot of that, especially over the next 6 months, over the next 12 months or so. What I would say, though, to that is that if you're investing over the long term, we don't really care what the markets do in the short term. I mean, if you're investing for retirement or something like that, and retirement is 30 or 40 years away, we really don't care what the markets do kind of in the next year or so. We care about what the markets do over a long period of time. So I think just kind of being patient in that regard is probably the best move. If we're looking kind of more at short-term kind of personal finance and investing, there are some things that historically have done pretty well during inflationary periods. Generally speaking, industries that can kind of control their own pricing. Historically, that's always been kind of utilities and maybe financial sectors that they tend to do a little bit better during inflationary times. That might be something to look into. I think in terms of taking on debt, though, I mean, if you're going to maybe go out and refinance a mortgage or something like that, that we probably want to do that sooner rather than later, because the longer that we wait, interest rates are going to probably go up.
Good advice there. So there's a little bit of uncertainty, especially when it comes to the next 6 to 8 months. But that's, of course, why we like to bring the experts on, including yourself, David. So if people need more advice or more information, how can they find you?
Yeah, sure. They can get a hold of me at david@davidpetersfinancial.com. I'm happy to talk to anybody, especially, in this very difficult time and as everybody's trying to just navigate the markets.
All right, David Peters, thank you so much for joining and sharing your insights.
Thank you so much, Rain.